for everybody on the call, I think Asra, again, another interesting model. What I gathered was it started as a social concept, linking a bit to Sahas, but I think they do it on a very decentralized model where they use a lot of manual people rather than mechanical sorting. And pardon me, Imani, if I interpret anything wrong, but I'm just trying to summarize. So I think it's an interesting model on a ward level or a small level where basically they get all the plastics, they segregated it into different, let's say different types of plastics, and that gets recycled. I only wanted to ask her that, how has she thought about increasing it in terms of various other cities, and how is she thinking of rolling it to a bigger level? But I think a good job again of another entrepreneur who has tried to create a situation where, besides the plastics being littered on the street, she's tried to create a social concept of collecting and segregating it manually. So with that, Prof. Chari, is it okay to summarize a little bit and have a Q&A session or something?
Yeah, I think you can summarize it. It's a little late in the day. Probably you can give your reflections and then we can close the session.
I'll be quick on this. On this, Prof. Chari. So again, from a perspective of being a waste entrepreneur and a waste business guy myself, there are 4 or 5 messages which I wanted to place. First message is to Asi is that thank you for putting across ink@wash, and I can go on record. Even I have not seen many innovative. Mr. Kunal Kumar talked about an innovation platform. I think you have created a platform where entrepreneurs not only are coming together, but cities are looking at it. At a national level in India, I think it is one of the unique ones. I have not come across that even in progressive world of Singapore and the Western world, because we have offices in Canada, US, and UK. So very good thing of consolidation. What I would say is that collaboration is the way forward. To all the entrepreneurs out here, I think you should pat yourself for the passion and the commitment and the determination you guys have. The only way would be for all of you to think it from a perspective of making the business model sustainable and going forward. Collaboration is very key. I think from an investor's world where I come from partly, we see that whenever we want to invest into a company, we see A, whether the company can scale up, B, whether it can be transformed into a platform approach. So just to give an example, there are some startups here which could actually amalgamate, get merged and create a bigger entity and conquer more and more cities, not only in India, but outside India. So consolidation of various pieces of the puzzle helps to scale up the business model a bit more better. Number 3, as I mentioned to Mr. Raghuram, is that creating products is interesting, but if you could add a bit of masala to that, if you can add a bit of flavor to that and make it a bit more sober, make it a bit more aesthetically looking better, put the environmental impacts on top, and create some kind of a supply chain where you even deal with some of the largest furniture manufacturers from outside India or in India to be able to take this product on a sustainable basis. So that is very important in terms of creating high value product rather than any other product. To all the cities on the line today, including Prof. Chai, I have mentioned this many times that waste business needs 3 basic elements, or either of these 3 basic elements. Either economics, regulation, or socio-political crisis. Let me give an example. We have Andrew here from UK, and I can tell you we do business in the UK as well. There are 2 business models why the waste business has picked up so well in the UK, and innovations are growing. Economics are very good. London has a tipping fee of £120 a ton. Number 2, regulation. They have regulations of waste diversion from landfill. They want to be a landfill-free nation, right? So regulations help. And the third angle is a socio-political crisis. Now, if you see in our country, suddenly we have gone to be a complete electric vehicle nation. You will have seen a lot of policies being rolled out on us being an electric vehicle nation. So I would say that this work of plastics waste management is coming along very well. We have some very interesting global players who have entered India. We have a lot of innovations. What I would say is for the cities to see, and I agree that regulations alone don't. But I must say that if there are cities on the call today, if you look at the wastewater sector in the country, the wastewater has all been either funded by JNURM, Amrut, JICA, World Bank, or ADB. Waste is not any other brother or sister. Waste is also a waste like wastewater. In fact, wastewater has its way to find its way towards the ocean. Waste will always pile up. And for example, that's the reason we have a landmark after every city is a mountain and a garbage mountain. So what I would say is to look it in a different way, that only innovations wouldn't help. There has to be some kind of awareness, which is social, regulation, and some kind of an economic model to it. So cities should also look at, last but not the least from this side, Prof. Chari, I wouldn't want to say what we do it in Singapore may not completely apply to India. But what I can definitely see is that this ability to create something from nothing, the ability to improvise things, the ability to create things at 1/10 the cost of what we do outside India is just mind-blowing. What probably could be added on this is a bit of marketing and branding, a bit of aesthetics, a bit of the technology adoption on traceability. I think some of them are doing it. Some of them may want to do it, because large companies like PepsiCo, Dan, and Coca-Cola, they really want to know where did you pick this waste from and where this waste is going to. So they want to know the entire traceability. And blockchain is a very interesting technology which has launched, and many other companies are doing it. So let's get on that. And last but not the least is, I don't think that waste should be considered as a business where it's a menial job, sir. Rack pickers are not only the ones who has to pick up all the waste. Systematic way where rack pickers, innovators, cities, and all citizens can come together and create a model which is a win-win model, and most important is a sustainable model. With that, Prof. Chari, I think I would say thank you for the opportunity again.